Hi everybody, John Honig from the Scenic Factory. I'm going to do a little tutorial on making some shrubs and little hedges out of root material. Pretty quick and easy way. I'm going to show you some of the new flocking materials that we're going to use. Basically the product of choice we're going to use is this root material, which has been glycerin preserved. It's a real fine, particular root material. Preserving it makes it not so brittle, so you can kind of toy around with it, as I'll show you, so we can stretch it out and make what we're looking for. I just wanted to go over a couple of the initial products that we're going to use for it. This is all done with spray adhesive and hairspray. I've showed this before, but this is our spray adhesive of choice. There's a million different kinds out there. I prefer this one. It's the lightest, mistiest. Honestly, 1 in 3 cans seem to be bad though, or 1 in 4. If you spray it and it sprays clumpy, there's something up with it, which happens every now and then. I don't know if I froze it or whatever happened, but normally it's a nice misty adhesive. Also, I'll be mentioning and using hairspray. This is my main one. Not the least expensive, but it's pretty inexpensive. Works the best for me. And there's one other one which is more expensive. This Consort heavy hold. This is more expensive. Well, $3.50. I guess it's not expensive. This is a really nice mist. This is the extra hold. What is it? Extra hold? Yeah, extra hold. They're pretty equal. It's all relatively inexpensive, but I don't really recommend the cheapest stuff you can find because sometimes it sprays cruddy, and when you're doing this work that's really delicate, it gums it up. So again, at $3 or whatever it is, it's not really a lot of money. Now the flocking materials we're going to be playing around with here at the taping of this. Right now, none of these are on the site. They're all ready to go. I just have not had a chance with all the shows and everything else coming up. So I'm just going to show a couple of them. One is tree flock. This is fine, and all of these are custom mixed one way or another by me. The only ones that are over the shelf or could be over the shelf are some of the super leaf flockings, but a lot of the colors on those are also, it's all custom mixes. So basically all the stuff I do and all the stuff I make, you can get the same stuff and make it yourself if you want. This particular tree flock is going to be 7 different colors, I think. It's pretty fine. No leaf flake in it. This is actually what it is. I don't know if you can see good enough. We're going to use some of that. That's one item. The other that I just mentioned is super leaf flock. It's a Scenic Express material. I use it on a lot of stuff, but I also custom mix a lot of it. So this is going to be, I think I have 15 different varieties going on this, and a lot of it's the custom mixes. You know, things that are labeled summer green, they're actually mixes that I use on my products. So, but that's all available as well. The other one is leaf flocking. This is actual flake. This gets used quite a bit. Sometimes alone, but a lot of times I use it in conjunction with some of the other flockings. Again, this same thing, a lot of custom mixes. I think there's going to be all ready to go. I think there's 15 of these as well, different colors, all seasons. And this one, which isn't in a box yet, but this is going to be labeled as a hedge flocking. This is a mixture. This is what we'll probably use first. This is a mixture of a couple different ones and flake too. This stuff is great. I really do like this stuff. Now this is what the base use is of this product. Okay, these aren't made from root, but this is what some of the flocking that's going to be labeled as hedge flocking is used for. Even though these aren't even labeled as hedges. Same with this, same idea. And don't let the terms of hedges or bushes or any of the terminology alter you in any way. It's just there's so many different things and so many different products. That's just kind of how I divide them up. Some hedges in a hedge, a bush is in a bush. It's whatever you think they are. It's just, that's just how I divide them. Alright, so actually I'll show you one more thing here. This is the flocking on one of the bigger shrubs that we do. That actually these will be out with everything else. Those ones I just showed you aren't even on the site yet. I've been bringing them to shows, but they've been selling out so quick that I haven't had a chance to replenish them. this is how these are going to be. These are 2 to 3 inches, and these are actually sold singly. A lot of different colors, varieties, but it's all made with the same flocking. So there's like 4 or 5 different flocks here. I use them alone, I use them in conjunction. Sometimes it's good to make the shrub or whatever you're making with the finer turf for the hedge flocking, and then you sprinkle the leaf flock over top of it to make it pop. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple different ones here just to show you how it goes. Now for this, we're just going to do something semi-small. You can make these as big as you like. I've showed this before. This is basically giant versions. This is the extra large. This is how big you can make them using the same technique I'm going to show for the smaller stuff. The adhesive, you can just keep building these or shape them however you want. So for this, we're going to keep it a little bit smaller. So we're going to just take a piece, tease it out a little, and then you kind of just pile it in whatever shape. I'm not getting crazy because this isn't for any particular purpose. Now you notice there's a lot of stringy pieces hanging off. That's good. We want that. Because once the flocking sticks to it, that's what's going to give us our branch look. Now I don't usually do this on the table right here, but once you get a couple pieces where you want it, or the actual shape of the shrub, or bush, or hedge, or whatever we're going to call this thing, you know, even little pieces like this, so we take them and then we're going to add a little pop off on the side here before I do the initial adhesive. Okay, so we have our basic shape of what we want. It's just a piece of cardboard with wax paper on it. As I keep moving, I like to use stuff like this. This is the backing of mail labels. It's basically sticker paper. It's just easier to work with. So what I would normally do is not do it around all this stuff because the mist of this spray can go anywhere. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit. Now see, already that quick, we just stuck it together enough. Now I'm going to take it, I'm going to flip it over, hit it again, and I'm going to put it in the less sticky side here. Now what I would normally do, I don't have any ready to go, is now I would make a couple of these or whatever I'm doing, let them dry for a good 10 or 15 minutes, that way they're not so sticky. But for the case of this video, we're going to keep rolling here. So, as I find my pan here, here it is. Okay, so what we're going to do is now transfer it to a clean surface. Sorry, get anything stuck here. Again, it's all sticky, so you got to be a little bit careful. Alright, so we're going to switch our workspace. So what I'll do is, before I flock it, is I'll pick this up with tweezers and I spray it off site of this, because when I flock it, I want to be able to reuse this flocking. So I think what we'll do for this particular one is we'll do this is what we'll call the double flocking. We're going to use a finer flocking on the inside. Namely, we're going to use what I call the hedge flocking, which is a mixture of both. And then we'll top it off with a little pure leaf flake. So I got a box over here I'm going to spray this adhesive into. You only want it just to get adhesive on it. If you were to keep spraying this, it would turn white. That we don't want. Now these roots are black. You could make this the way it is and then spray it brown, green, whatever you want. So what we're going to do is lightly add some flocking. Now this is the finer stuff. I want it to penetrate in a little bit, but I don't want it to fill up all these voids. The key to being realistic with this is to keep it airy. I'm actually going to flip it over so a little bit of it falls through. save this. Okay. So this is our base. Now, honestly, if you wanted, that could be done. And what I do with all of them is then I would seal it with hairspray. But since we're going to add some leaf flake on top of this, and this is a summery green, mid-summery green. We're going to take some plain leaf flake. This one is medium. This is going to be medium olive. It's in the same realm of what this shade of shrub is. And we're going to take it again, and we're going to lightly mist it with the pure adhesive again. Just lightly. Now the key to this flake is don't put it on heavy. You do it from up high. Just kind of let it snow on there. Now some of these long ones, I'll actually just touch it just to make sure I get it on there. A little bit more. And this goes a long way. You don't want to dump so much on it that it fills the voids. And what you don't want to do is put it in this thing and shake it up and try to fill it. You got to do it like this because we want the voids. Okay, so this has a mixture of the hedge flock, which is basically just a fine turf flock, custom mixed to the color I just showed you. And then what we did is we just added the leaf flock on top of it. Hopefully you can see this thing good. Try to get different views here. Alright, so if I'm happy with it, which I am, then basically we're just going to seal the deal with the hairspray. Going to get underneath it, on top of it, just a mist. I'm going to go in my box again here though. And that's it for our airy, bushy shrub. I don't know how big this thing is. I don't know. My finger's pretty big, but just to give you an idea. And that's a general shrub, hedge, whatever you want to call it. Colors are endless. Textures are endless. So I'm going to set that one off to the side. And what we'll do is make a bigger one. I'll show you how I'll get this back. And again, normally you'd let this dry because everything's going to stick to it. Alright, so I'm going to take some of this. You can tease this out a little bit. Tell you what, I'm going to go to a less sticky spot here. I'm actually going to turn it a little. I'm going to take some more. And some of the bigger branchy pieces are nice because that's what this stuff is. Tell you what, for this I'm going to flip this because this is just too sticky. Right, we're going to use this. Now, for making a hedgerow or something big, you could literally just keep building this out. There's no need to really spray it until you get it where you want it, so it's not so sticky. I'm using non-box stuff here, so I don't ruin a complete package. Okay, but you take a little scrambled mess like this. What we'll do is we'll tease it out a little bit. And we're going to make this one a little bit longer. Stick it together. And you want it airy. Unless it's a real thick hedgerow, then you can compact it a little bit more. But if it's not as compact as you want it, you can double up the flocking. You can, you can fill this thing solid that way. So we're going to thicken this up a little bit more. And some of this is fine. That's fine. We just want to basically build our shape. You can also stick stuff out if you want to model a different kind of shrub or okay, say you were to take something like this can stick it out of the top like that. You can stick a couple of those and this thing will get real big. Yeah, you know, we'll leave it in there for this. And it doesn't matter what it looks like inside there because you're not going to see that once it's flocked. So, what I'm going to do is we will spray this. And I'm going to have to get rid of this cardboard. Doesn't take much. That's how it just gets stuck together. Flip it. Again, you're better off doing this on a board, laying it, spraying it, leaving it for 10-15 minutes, and then coming back to it, because it does start to stick to everything. Now we're going to go to this tray. Alright. Okay, now this is pretty big. This is a 9-inch tray. Like I said, you could keep adding to this. So if there's something you're building, you can build this off-site. You could actually make this, spray it to solidify it, put it up on your diorama. This will bend in shape because of the adhesive and kind of hold that shape. So before you flock it, if you want, you can mold this thing to whatever you're doing. Then take it off, basically put it on a bench like this and finish it up. Then put it back on. That way you're not making a mess out of your diorama if you're doing something big. And again, this can be as big, you can just keep adding to this. You can make it whatever you want. So what we're going to do is, where's the, okay, this is the right turf. I'll use a different color here. Okay, this is what we're calling the hedge flocking again. This is a mixture. It's got leaf flake in it and the fine turf flocking, because I do want to penetrate this with some of the fine turf. I want you to be able to see through it, but I still want it to be all green. Whereas if we just did the leaf flake, it wouldn't penetrate all in that far. It would look very leafy, but you see a lot of the stems and the branches if you're modeling that. So what we're going to do, back to my box, I'm going to spray underneath it and top, so we're going to fill the whole thing. So before I set it down, I'm going to add some to the bottom. It's not actually the bottom, it's actually going through the whole airiness of it and coming out the other side even. Okay. Leave this down because when you put it down, it's almost like putting flour down, making cookies. It makes it so it won't stick right here. Okay, same thing. Now if you want this dense, give it a couple minutes. You can respray it with adhesive and do this step again with this finer material. Okay. Alright, so that's our main shrub. We could turn this into a springy look if you were to add this. This is a much brighter green, so if we wanted to, we're not going to do that though. We're going to stick with the regular. Actually, you know what, we will, just for a contrast, just so you can see what's going on, we will add just pure leaf flake of the spring. Now since it's going to look like new growth, I'm actually not going to do the underside, but I'll do the sides and the top. A light misting, very light, of the adhesive, and then from high up, sprinkle it. This will look like new leaves. Again, the key is not to overdo it. If we were to hammer these leaves on here, it would just fill in all the voids and not look right. Okay, and then with some of my hands in a pinch, I will hit some of these long ones that didn't get any stuck on it. Alright, if you're happy with it, which I am, it's light with the bright flake, gives a nice spring appearance. We'll seal it with the hairspray. Now the adhesive takes a little bit to dry, so I would leave this, I mean, I'd either leave it overnight or leave it for a couple hours and it's ready to go. That's all there is to it. I mean, like I said, this is pretty big. And once it dries, you can pick it up and move it around. Like I said, once you spray it with adhesive, even before you put flocking on it, it sticks together, but it's kind of moldable. So you can, that's what's nice about pre-making something for your diorama. Or model railroad or whatever you're doing it on. Okay, so that's the shrub and hedge part. While I'm on this, I'm going to show another simple little procedure using the sea foam for making little bushes. Not with root material. Now with this, we've got one little thing left. Okay, this is our sea foam that's been dyed. Comes three ways, either natural color, green, or brown. What's nice about the green is you can use it as is, or it does not take much at all to turn this into a nice little shrub. But again, these are nice and airy. So what I'll do is we'll do two different ones. We'll use the super leaf and we'll use the regular leaf on this. Tell you what, we'll do the super leaf first. Now this, same thing with the adhesive. We're going to spray some adhesive on it. And then the key is, again, don't drop it in whatever you're mixing it with. You just want to touch the head of it. So it's going to wind up airy. That's it. Very simple but effective. Now we're going to touch it. The cup's not really big enough here, but this will give you the idea. Okay, that's it. Very simple. It's still airy. This particular one is, I don't even know what it is. Medium spring blend. This is one of the blends. There's a couple different color flake in here. Okay, that's one way to do it. Now again, to put these on a diorama or layout, you do a whole bunch of these and you stagger them like a pin cushion. You can put a bunch of these in, then you'll stick one on top like that, and you'll just keep, you can build dimension with it. Again, this, very simple. You make a crud load of these pretty quick. Alright. The other version is with the leaf flake, which is also one of my favorites. Tell you what, for this we're going to use the light green just so you can see it. This is, oops. This is a little bright. I would only use this color for new growth for the hedge we just did, or if it's in something like this, pure spring. I don't like to use the pure bright stuff. But for this, actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll use this one. We'll use one of the darker ones so it's more realistic. Same thing. Just enough. Give it a little tap. That's simple. Gives you a nice little airy shrub. Same thing. These you can kind of stack on top of each other. You can lay them out, but it's that easy. But with the green sea foam, it looks like a whole plant. So, whereas the natural, that would show through and it wouldn't really look that good. You can also use the brown. All right. So basically that's it. Nice quick tutorial how to use the flocks. Again, these flocks aren't on as the taping of this, but there's going to be 30 different variety colors within a week or so. So thanks for watching. The next video we're going to do is on the ground covers and the right way to do the ground turfs. So thanks for watching, and hopefully it helps you out. Thank you.